Hi again, this is Pam from God Conscious Twin Flame 1111. A little more about me. I am a Master Reiki practitioner and teacher. I am a life recovery and spiritual coach. I take clients on a 3-month basis. I will do 1 month, but no less than that in a contract. I am also an intuitive and a reader, tarot and oracle cards for the collective and for the purposes of guidance and information for your journey. At this time, the angels have asked me to do daily readings. I don't know for how long, but that's where we're at. The readings will be, I would like to keep them under a half an hour. As part of a meditative practice, I would hope to give you the guidance for the day, maybe some obstacles to be aware of, and inspiration, and possibly even motivation when needed. So that's what they're telling me the purpose of the daily readings are at this time. They also cautioned about comparing reader to reader, as we all come to the table with different experiences and different gifts, and we are asked to handle readings in a different manner. We speak in different languages, and we talk about our experiences are sometimes guided in through the cards. So we want you to be aware that this may not reach everybody, but there might be some resonance with each of us, and that's okay. I did notice, and I'm excited about some of the new readers and guides and people who are coming out of the closet, so to speak, talking about their twin flame experiences. This is another path in which to get to God, to have an intimate relationship with God and with oneself, to come into balance, to release the old belief systems and conditioning that we were programmed into from a very young age. They want us to know that peace is your birthright and joy is your birthright. Now, you may be saying, well, if that's true, why am I struggling? And, this twin flame journey has been very painful. Well, the purpose of that is to clear the blocks. And the purpose of that is to heal. And many of us have not been taught that it's okay to not be okay. Many of us have been taught that we have to man up or put on our big girl panties and just suck it up. So yes, we are. However, more importantly, we're supposed to go through the experience. We are supposed to feel it, to heal it. And we are not really given enough tools on how to do so. So it is imperative, that's the word that came, imperative, that you embrace that part of this journey. It is essential in the awakening and ascension process. It will be transmuted, which is a word that you hear a lot. Transmuted meaning it will be turned into, from the dark side to the light side. You have to acknowledge it, and you have to bring it into the awareness. And each layer will come up when your personal guides and angels feel it's time for you to release it. So it reminds me that lessons are repeated till they're learned, and your lessons will be repeated, except that the goal, and my experience really has shown me, that each time the lesson shows up, it gets easier and easier and easier, and ultimately, puff, it goes away. And it no longer has that emotional entanglement and effect inside of you. So that's an important goal to look for, because that's what's going to happen. And then the lessons will continue. So you want to be open-minded, open heart, open to the possibilities that this pain is for your ultimate glory. So the suffering that we do experience has a benefit. It truly does. Be aware that this is not intended to be a, just a fairy tale happening, and it's done and over with. That's just not the reality, as many of you already know, as I can attest to. Yes, probably the beginning of the journey was powerful, and it inspired awe within you. And it was like, I never want to let this go. But I think a lot of us know deep down inside that it wasn't going to stay. And while in the absence of the twin, your job is to bring to light all those blocks to love that you have within you. So some blocks to love that I can talk about are really referenced in the Bible under the title of the 7 deadly sins. That's the easiest way I learned it, and so that's what I want to pass off to you. That's what I'm guided to do, is that the 7 deadly sins are really the blocks that we are accustomed to, maybe even comfortable with. Pride and lust for power and control, and maybe some gluttony, like, playing things over and over and over and over. And some of us have addictions. I'm one that overcame addictions. Some of us have other life experiences that have to be healed that you can't see because you have this blindfolded perspective, and you're, whether you're blindfolded or just kind of have blinders on, you can only see from here, but there is a 30,000 foot view that God sees, and that your angels see, and that your guides see, that they are right there with you, walking you through it. And you want to allow them to assist you. You want to ask for their help at all times. So I do encourage a morning meditation practice, even if it's 3 to 5 minutes, where you just say, I offer myself to thee to guide me to the experiences that you would have for me, that will allow for me to be a vessel of peace and love to the people that are put on my path today. And it is as simple as that. And then just pause for a few moments. Keep a journal nearby so that you can write down anything that you get during those meditative sessions. I will ask you to follow through on the guidance because it is intended for your good. I was a little stubborn, and that's one of the 7 deadly sins that they had to really work with me. They must get a chuckle out of me because I'm stubborn, and I'm getting better at it, but I'm stubborn, and I'm fearful. When I look at the 7 deadly sins that I do have, a lot of them are based in fear and based on old conditioning and old belief systems, and if you look at yours too, you'll see, well, I got to this somehow. So moving from there, don't worry about how it's going to come together. They will make a way. Just be open. Whether it's a financial block, there might be a little something that you have to do in between that. Internal. A lot of this work is internal, in the mind in particular. So I'm reminded to ask you to question the thoughts that are coming through. Are they true? Is it coming from fear, or is it coming from love? If it's coming from love, then that is for your highest good. If you're not sure yet, ask the angels. They will answer you. They may not answer you in that second, but they will ultimately provide you with an answer. Write them down. Write your questions down, and during the course of your day and the days to follow, see if you're being answered. Sometimes they're very subtle. I don't see beyond this life, meaning I'm not a medium. I am only guided from the present moment, oftentimes to the future moment. Sometimes I get a little glimpse of the things that have happened in your past or in my past that ultimately make sense to where I'm at now. And I encourage you to kind of look at those things that didn't seem to make sense in your past, that kind of like I envision sometimes puzzle pieces just coming together from a 10,000 piece puzzle. All of a sudden I just see, okay, there's the tree. So we're all guided in different ways. We all hear in different ways. Some of us have vision, some of us have hearing, some of us have feeling, some of us have prophecy. Excuse me. The visions are uniquely, the gifts are uniquely geared for your purpose moving forward in your day, moving forward in your life. And you want to get in tune with those messages. So that's what these daily guidance readings are about, getting in tune with your daily lesson. So we are students and teachers at all times. That comes from the Course in Miracles. And Course in Miracles, I highly recommend, was hugely instrumental in the undoing process. It is a little difficult to read at first. It is one of the easier ways to go through the Course in Miracles, at least to start, if you haven't heard about it or you haven't experienced it, is Marianne Wiliamson. Marianne Wiliamson is a conduit, if you will, for teaching the principles of A Course in Miracles. And one of the principles that I really enjoy is if you haven't witnessed a miracle, there's something wrong. And it's usually not God. It's my perception. It's your perception. It's the perspectives. So the Course in Miracles is it's a book. It's almost as big as the Bible, probably as big as the Bible, and it's considered to be the New Age Bible that was scribed by, if I can remember her name, that would be a miracle. Okay, angels, give me that. Helen Schuckman. Scribed by Helen Schuckman and a fellow professor who was the head of the psychology department at Columbia University. And they wanted to find out how to stop the infighting within the departments and within the school. And Helen was a atheist, maybe an agnostic, and she didn't practice any particular religious beliefs, but ultimately Jesus was speaking to her, and she scribed this book called The Course in Miracles. And her counterpart, angels, if you'd help me with his name. Okay, it's not coming to me right now. But these two worked together to put together this book. And she would scribe it, and then he would assist in putting it together. And then they would be guided by spirit on how to rearrange it when needed. And I don't remember exactly how long it took, but the ultimate result was the text, the workbook for students, which contains 365 lessons, the Song of Praise, and the Manual for Teachers. And all of these books have been instrumental in my Ascension process. It kind of gave me an additional tool to go through the undoing of some beliefs I held. So one of the lessons that I really enjoy in there is I give this thing, and it's a blank, all the meaning that it has. So they encourage you to look around the room and, look at the objects in the room. And, let's say you have a chair that was passed down from your grandmother, and it was your grandmother's favorite chair, and that was the chair that your grandfather sat in, and that's where she served him tea maybe, and crackers while they sat to watch radio, because they didn't have TV in part of the Depression area, together, and get updated on the news, or maybe they did use it to sit at the television and bonds, and So that chair now went from just being a chair with wood and upholstery and, maybe some padding and batten padding, or maybe even, down padding, to this chair that has an emotional attachment. So you're looking at what is just an object that has all this emotional attachment to it, and then it teaches you how to undo that. That's what we do to relationships. That's what we do to ourselves when we look in the mirror. That's what we do to our children or our parents. We assign an emotional attachment to it, and either it attracts us or it repels us. And the idea is to get to neutral on everything. And so daily guidance encourages getting to neutral, starting a new day. I will tell you that I am on Central Standard Time in the United States, so that my readings are going to be put out somewhere in the neighborhood of 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning, give or take. Yesterday I was not obedient and I did not do the reading, and I suffered terribly. I had tremendous pain in my neck and shoulders, which was taken away. And so now I'm being told just do some helpful messages to the collective, to teach them to be where they're at. So if you are an emotional hot mess, be there, be that. And don't try to numb it. Don't try to run from it. Don't go shopping. Don't go eating. Don't go drinking. Don't go using any kind of drugs. Just be in the hot messedness. Yeah, I like that. Crying. If you are crying a lot, ask the angels to embrace you. Ask God to embrace you, and they will. It takes a little practice to get used to how they embrace you. Don't put a requirement on it or an expectation. They do it in their way, and then you will be overcome with a peace that surpasses all understanding. I encourage you to, if it is monkey mind thoughts, recurring thoughts, keep a journal and start writing about them. If it's recurring thoughts about how you think this relationship should be, or that you're not in union yet and you're supposed to be, or what did I do wrong, put that all down and stop, pause, ask yourself if it's true. More often than not, it's not true. You have to realize that there are two people that have free will, and the free will is what we struggle with. The masculine have a harder time with succumbing to the feminine energies because they have been conditioned to not be in the divine energies. They have been conditioned to be hard and to stuff and to not feel and to be closed down. And I have to kind of watch my time here because I have an appointment. They have been conditioned away from this twin flame journey, essentially. So that's probably the best way to put it. And women are more nurturing and more open and more ready. Not to say that anybody is less spiritual. It's just a little bit of a more difficult process for men. And then the trauma that they may have incurred as children plays a role in this. And overcoming that trauma and the post-traumatic stress disorder that goes with it. I don't really like labels, but they help to convey a message. And the message really is we as a human race have been traumatized, and that's why we're seeking healing. Twin Flame Journey is one of those paths to healing that is very powerful because it talks about love as its primary focus. Love of oneself, love of our neighbors, love of our twin flame, unconditional love. That'll be in a message in future, maybe later today. Depends on how they guide me and how that relates to the time schedule that I have in front of me. Yeah. Um, so that's it for now. That's enough. This little snippet I hope is helpful for those that are struggling. So whether you are a twin flame that is um, like the blue rays, the first wave, or you're an indigo, or you're identifying with those labels, those classifications, um, and you're struggling, this is going to be very beneficial to you. The struggle is real, and it is intentional, and it is divinely inspired for your growth, so that you can bring others to enlightenment. Even in the midst of the hot messedness, you can bring light, and it's really none of our business on how we do that. I had to learn that the hard way. I will share this last little message. I am very active in my local church, and I go to a lot of small groups, and I'm very, very at home in this church. It is a non-dogmatic church. It is a member of, I want to say, associated and related churches, and so their message is God equals love, and I love that. And the people there are really open and generous, and so I go to the small group on Monday nights, and it's a very intimate setting, and um, we bond, and we eat a meal together, and then we go through what the pastor had said on Sunday in a video clip that is created for us. And it so happened that I was dominating that particular subject matter because I have a lot of experiential knowledge, and I kind of felt like I possibly offended the leader, who is a beautiful, beautiful soul, a little younger. So last night I had an opportunity to have a chat with him, and he said, you know, everything that you said I needed to hear. So you don't have to apologize. You did nothing wrong. I do happen to be very forthright, and I am a very strong personality, and the angels have worked with me to tone it down somewhat. I think that by sharing these messages on YouTube, that'll help, because I'm reaching the people they want me to reach. But the messages are very important and very clear. Do your work. Do your work. Do your work. So in this, I don't know what was said. I don't remember, because when Spirit uses me, I just kind of let it come through me and go through me. And there was times that I had... I didn't like myself. I didn't like the way I looked. I don't like the way I sound. I don't like some of the expressions I make. I don't want it out there, and I'm supposed to be a certain way, and, well, blah, 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 blah. I think we've all heard those messages, internal messages. That's the ego, and that ego has to die. Die. I want him dead. Her. Both of them. But it affects me. So I don't do what the angels tell me to do out of fear of rejection. So anyway, so in this conversation last night, he was very open, and he said, you know, I just want to kind of tell you a little this and a little that, and it was very beautiful. And then at the end, I went about, I'm also studying to be a minister, and I do hold a ministry license, and and he sent me a Facebook message that basically said, you know, because I shared with him, you know, you are a beautiful, beautiful being of light, and you have a lot to offer, and people are coming to you, and you want to make sure that you have your healed best self available to them. And then we continued on the conversation, but he sent me a message, thank you for that compliment. So really, I just kind of, I have this part of my personality that is unapproachable, but I'm trying to work through that, where I want to be more approachable, and I think and I pray that this is one of the methods. So if you like the message and you want to have a reading with me, please, I put them up on my videos, so take a look. I'm going to try to remember to put it on this video. I do a distance Reiki healing, so if you feel like you need an energy work down and a clearing of your chakras, please let me know that. My web address is, I think godconscious twin at gmail.com. But I'll put all that information in the description box. I'm sending you blessings of love and peace. I'm praying for all of you, that you embrace this journey as a very unique and special experience. It is said that Jesus was a twin. I'm not going to continue on that right now, but I will probably in later videos. So peace. Peace to all of you.